What is up, guys? Jake from One Hive here with the long-awaited, updated Dragloon video for Town Hall 8. Guys, this was the very first video, how-to video that I ever did, so I guess it is due an update. However, not a lot has changed, so I do encourage you, if you haven't seen part 1 and part 2 of how to Dragloon at Town Hall 8, go back and watch those videos. They're in the attack strategy playlist. There's going to be a lot of good info that still plays there because not a lot's changed at Town Hall 8. The one thing that has is this little guy right here, the air sweeper, but we're going to talk about that as well. So, pretty simple concept, guys. You want to get your dragons funneled to the air defenses, and that's really all that matters. You want to take those out. Usually your balloons are going to be what takes out the air defenses for you, but sometimes if you do a good enough dragon funnel, your dragons can actually beat them there and take it out. Since the introduction of the air sweeper, that's just one more thing you've got to consider, but pretty straightforward. Come from behind it. You know, a base like this, air sweeper's pointed out this way, you've got these two. You're going to want to come with your dragons from this direction and take out the air defenses and then the sweeper, because the sweeper can cause your dragon some problem. They're pretty slow as it is. They take a long time to get an attack off, and if it pushes your dragons back, then they catch back up, get ready to take a breath, and it just pushes them back again. Sometimes it can really ruin your raid. What people are doing now with Dragloon is different than back when I made the initial videos. You'll notice the army composition here, and I'm sorry, I paused at the wrong time. He brought 2 lightning, 1 rage, and 1 quake. You know, we didn't have this back then, but with 2 max lightning and a quake, you can even do it with a level 1 quake, you can take out an air defense. So what he's going to do is drop these lightnings, the earthquake, on this particular air defense, take it out of commission, because that way he can come in from this angle we talked about, and all he has left to worry about is those 2 air defense. The sweeper is pretty much out of play at that point. Now, let's talk about dragon funneling and funneling in general. This is a perfect angle to do this from because army camps are great funnel creators. They're so wide, those 4 spaces. You know, once this goes down, dragons are going on this side are not going to wrap around the base. They're going to head, you know, in this direction and right to the middle, which is exactly what you want. So always a good idea to, if you can, if it's there, take out those army camps, create your funnel. So just drop a dragon here, drop a dragon here. And what I recommend, Zypher doesn't exactly do it, but I recommend working back and forth. You know, if I drop, this was, let me just clear this out of the way and number them. If this was number 1 and this was number 2, my 3rd dragon would be right here. And it would be, sorry, my drawing skills with doing numbers here is not good. And it would be after this went down. I would drop my 3rd dragon, because what's going to happen if you drop your dragon, especially up at this corner, once this goes down, the dragon's going to move either to this builder hut or to this collector. Doesn't matter which one. I would drop my 3rd dragon here. I would drop my 4th dragon here. Again, if you dropped that 1st dragon on this corner, the next building it's going to go to is here. And you can see if you repeat this, drop my 5th dragon here. This will go down. This will move here. I'll drop my 6th dragon here. This will move here as this goes down. And it sort of brings them all together. So once this middle building goes down, you can drop the rest of your dragons. Where is all of these dragons going? They're going right to the middle of the base. They're not going to wrap around on you anymore. So that's how you create a funnel with dragons. You sort of stagger back and forth, and you use each building towards the middle. You start on the outside. You take this out. You let that go down. Same thing here. You start on the outside, this goes down, and you let these 2 dragons that you started with work their way in. Then you reinforce. You drop another dragon. Okay, drop your dragon here. These will go down, and once those go down and everything comes in here to the middle, now you've got that breadcrumb that's left over. These are gone. You know, this dragon will probably come in and take these out. This is all gone. And you can swarm your dragons from the middle here. They're all going to go into the core. When you drop that rage form, when they're dealing with the CC troops and you want to get through these high HP buildings, you're going to have the benefit of all your dragons being affected by it. Now, the other thing that we have to talk about, that again, if you go back and watch the how-to video from long ago, you'll see us talking about it, is that's one funnel that you've created. Your dragons are going to go to the closest building, whatever it is. However, your loons are a very important part of this attack, and they're going to go to defensive buildings. So you've got to consider the secondary funnel, which is that of your of the defensive structures. You see this sort of ring around here. Once these dragons start to come in, if you just dropped your loons right here, okay, right behind your dragons and they come in, This is going to go down, then they're going to split and or go one direction or the other. They're going to sort of wrap around the base. And if a Tesla pops here, they'll go to it first and before they go to this air defense. You really don't want that. You want these outside defenses dead before your balloons go down. Once these go down, or right as they're about to go down before you drop your balloons, that's going to allow your balloons to take a straight shot. And if you come at them from the side, sort of like what Cypher does here, if you can ensure that this is down, or maybe even if just this one's down, and you drop them from the side, it's okay if there's a Tesla pop there because they're going to stop. They've got a direct path to the air defenses. Same thing on the other side. But consider that. Don't just drop your balloons in here because what's going to happen is they're going to target this. They're going to go here. Then they're going to go here. And if, they're just going to wrap around the base and the whole time your air defense is going to be shooting them. The other thing I try to recommend for people is try to let your dragons get out in front. You don't really want your balloons tanking. You want your dragons doing the tanking, if at all possible, for those air defenses. The balloons are going to get there quicker if you path them correctly. They're going to take out those air defenses very quickly for you and help you get the 3-star. Also, I recommend using the rage where at least your balloons get part of it. Rage really helps balloons because they travel so much. It speeds them up so much more. The dragons aren't going to be traveling very far because they're going to the closest building. So even they're getting the damage burst from it, but really the speed burst is negated on dragons. They're going to go to that closest building, and it's not going to be more than a few tiles away. So it's really not a huge benefit to them. When balloons, they could be traveling 4, 5, maybe 6 tiles through that rage to get to that closest defensive structure. So try to make sure that your balloons get the benefit of your rage. Namely your CC balloons, your maxed out balloons. Those are the ones you really want to take care of. But let's watch Cypher do this, and we will back out, look at one more base. It's going to be a shorter video because we've covered this before. Just going to touch on the points that that are new to this. So let's watch the attack. All right, here's Cypher's attack. Again, he's just going to drop those lightnings right on that air defense and then that one earthquake spell, and boom, it is gone. So now he's got the one spell left over. He's got the dragons. He uses his Barbarian King to create that top part of the funnel. That's fine. You can do it that way. You don't have to, but you can. Then he drops his balloons in 2 groups. I think these balloons are a little bit early. I think he could have held on to those just a little longer and he would have got more out of them. You see the top air defense already targeting those balloons, while the bottom air defense is not. They still take a little meandering. And then the rage spell, I think, could have been dropped down further south where the balloons got the benefit of it because they do, are the ones that get in there and help take out those defenses quickly. But he just overwhelmed this base. It went down. Everything went down so fast. You see the balloons still doing some work for him. Dragons working around both ways. But that's just how fast it goes down, guys. I mean, if you can take out the air defenses, Town Hall 8s, they got nothing for that many dragons. So Cypher just rolls through this base. And again, with the fact that we have that extra spell slot now, and we can do it with, in old days, we had to do it with all 3 spells. Now being able to have that rage spell for the CC troops and to help get to those air defenses very quickly, this is a very, very powerful attack, and you're probably going to see it more and more in wars. Let's go back and look at one more base, and then we'll wrap this video up. All right, we're going to look at Cypher do another one. He's just the guy that's sort of putting this into practice at Genesis. So he's going to be our, model for today of how to do these attacks. Same thing pretty much. Drops a dragon down here, a dragon here. He is going to lightning and quake this air defense. Reason being, he wants to come at this with his dragon funnel from behind the air sweeper. Wants to grab this air defense very quickly, and he's going to use all of his balloons. You don't have to. You can bring 10 dragons and just your CC balloons if you do it correctly, but the way Cypher's doing it works as well. 9 and 4 of your own balloons works perfectly well. He's going to bring all of those balloons, all 9 of them, on this particular archer tower. There is a Tesla here, but still the pathing is very easy. It goes here, here, and the next one is the air defense. That's fine. My only critique would be one of 2 things. I would either have done it a little bit later to where your dragons, again, were in there probably doing a little bit of tanking for you, or I would have simply dropped the rage on these balloons. He doesn't use the rage up here. Excuse me, uses the rage up here, and I think you'll see that he doesn't get a lot out of that rage really for his dragons. But creates his funnel. I would recommend doing the same thing on your funnel, guys. If I was doing this base, I would drop my first dragon here, let it take this out. It would move into this direction. I would drop my second dragon here. It would move into this direction. I would drop my third dragon here. Both of these would move into this direction. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And you see how that's going to it's going to pull all these dragons this direction. This one's going to pull them all here, and by the time they start to move in, they're all going to be together. So that's how I funnel dragons. That's how I recommend you guys do it. You might have one stray. This one might go to here, but for the most part, the majority of your dragons are going to end up in the middle of the base and not wrapping around, and they're going to penetrate to the middle of the base, and you're going to wipe it out more quickly. So let's watch Zypher do this one. Again, guys, this is pretty straightforward. I don't want to recover all the things that we talked about in the previous videos because a lot of that still plays. We're just trying to update and show you what is changing it. So let's watch Zypher do it. All right, here we go. You're going to see the dragons dropped on the very bottom down there and on the top side, and just starts to create that funnel. Then he's going to go ahead and use his lightning and quake, take out that air defense. It's taken care of. Now he's letting his dragons sort of move in, sort of doing the deployment like I talked about here, back and forth, although he's doing it more quickly than I would. He's not letting his dragons pull themselves to the middle. You see how everything gets sort of taken down at once, and then they all move in. If you're patient and let the dragons move and then drop the next one, you saw nothing was hitting those dragons. It's better. You see what I'm talking about with the rage there? Really gets nothing for that rage. The dragons almost completely avoid it. They finally come back into the side, but I still think that the rage would have been better served on those balloons. Let them get to that air defense a little quicker because they just barely made it, honestly. That air defense taking out a lot of his balloons. Right here, they finally make it, get that bomb drop off, and it's done. And you'll see at this point, guys, it's over. That's all there is to it. It's not a difficult attack. It's not something that you can't do. Pretty foolproof. There might be some bases that are harder than others, but pick a good base for it. Hogs are very dominant at Town Hall 8. If you haven't watched that how-to video, check it out, because between hogs and this, honestly, there's no Town Hall 8 out there alive that you can't just absolutely wreck. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, Jake from One Hive, doing my very best to help you guys suck less.